Yeah. Very good. Welcome to Oconee County Board of Commissioners meeting. Today is Tuesday, July 26th. If you're joining us virtually, to comment during the public comment portions of the meeting, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom. After a moment of silence, we're going to ask Chuck Horton to lead us in the pledge to the flag. Please stand. Thank you.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, first item of business will be to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted. Second.
We have a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Next item is statement and remark from citizens. This is for anything not on the agenda tonight. Anyone virtually? Thank you. Do we have any statements or remarks from commissioners? Just a couple announcements, a few announcements for our citizen advisory boards. We have the Oconee County Planning Commission. We'll have 2 appointments coming up. Recreational Advisory Committee, 4 appointments. Keep Oconee County Beautiful Commission will have 1. Deadlines for applications is Tuesday, August 17th at noon. You can get an application on the website. With that, we'll move into our public hearing for the update to the comprehensive plan. Guy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. We'll have a brief presentation, then open it up for public comment, if any. And again, this is our joint comprehensive plan 5-year update, kickoff meeting and public hearing. We briefly went over this before, but we'll capture it one more time. What is a comprehensive plan? Again, that's a community-driven policy document that guides decisions, establishes a community vision, coordinates local planning efforts, and fulfills the state requirements. The main components are needs and opportunities, supporting goals and strategies, future development guide, and the 5-year action plan for implementation. And our public input prioritizes those needs and opportunities, establishes the community vision for growth, and identifies desired development patterns. How often is it updated? Well, every 10 years we have a full update, full revision with an intermediate and 5-year increments. And our previous plan was adopted in 2018. We're currently in the planning effort for the 5-year update. That will go to DCA for review and adoption next June in 2023. Other plans and factors that we consider during this update are the Oconee County Strategic Plan, the Oconee County UDC amendments that may have occurred over the last 4 years, Watkinsville's vision and strategy, as well as the other communities, and various transportation plans, capital improvement plans. So the 5-year update planning process is essentially where are we now since our 2018 plan, where are we going? And we manage that through our community assessment. So we'll review local census data that we've captured since our last plan. We'll look at plans and development patterns over the last 4 years. We'll review land use, housing, economic development, transportation, natural and cultural resources, and we'll highlight any areas that may need special attention. And so where do we want to go? That's where our public participation comes in. We have a survey out now that has had quite the response. We've had over 1,100 respondents to our survey. We're thankful for that input, and we hope that continues to grow. We'll also put together some focus groups, and we'll have draft plan reviews and open houses for input. And then that creates the final update with those amendments to the 5-year plan. And those will be our goals and strategies, our future development guide, and the 5-year implementation program. So this is our schedule and kind of where we are. Summer, we have started the survey, holding our public hearing. We're going through data analysis now with our consultants. This fall, we'll have focus groups, and then the community assessment will be put together. In the winter, we'll have a draft update for review and open house. And then in the spring, we'll submit it for DCA review. It takes a couple of months for their review. And then we plan to adopt in June, the 1st of June, in the summer of 23. And again, how can the public participate? Obviously, the best way is our community survey, which is online at www.oconeecounty.com/comp survey, COMP survey. And then we've had over 1,100 respondents, as we talked about, but also we would welcome any interest in our focus groups. If we could receive an email from you showing that you're interested, we'll be glad to correspond with you that way. Our email is ocplanning@oconee.ga.us. And then, of course, just keep track of any upcoming notices through our social media platforms. And obviously, as always, you can reach out to the planning department for any questions or comments. And that's our presentation. I think the public hearing would be appropriate now.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Guy from Commissioners?
I got one, Gal, I noticed the comments, you said focus groups, that's plural.
Yes.
What, is there different types of focus groups?
There will be multiple focus groups depending on where those people may live. So we're looking for focus groups for each of the municipalities, for locations that may have unique circumstances. Community may have some issues or some desire to look a certain way, maybe in our overlay districts or those types of things. So yes, we plan to have multiples of those.
So that's more
Geographic or interest, yeah, but those that reach out to us, hopefully we'll be able to converse with them and determine what their interest might be, and that'll help drive what focus group they may want to be a part of.
Will there be focus groups specifically for like economic development, transportation, recreation, or is it going to be broader than that? Those focus groups.
The focus groups really are designed to help us ascertain if there are issues or changes that need to be made to the previous plan. Each of those sections are sections of the comprehensive plan in itself, and most of those will not change. But if there's small changes that we need to make to some of those sections, or if there's changes that need to be made to the future development map, that maybe there were some zonings in some locations that there were interested parties that took issue with. So I think those are the types of focus groups that we'll look at and we'll compile this fall.
But anybody can bring up any issue at any of the meetings.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, so if
Absolutely.
there's somebody
We're
shows up,
open to
it's
all
not
of it.
like you can't talk about. If you show up at a focus group on an overlay, there'll still be opportunity to comment about transportation or recreation, or whatever item. So it wouldn't necessarily limit what we could talk about. Yeah. Very good. Thank you. Do we have any public comment on this item? Anyone virtually? Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and close our public hearing on the comprehensive plan. Next item will be the first reading of the amendment of the noise ordinance. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Again, you have before you this evening proposed changes to the noise ordinance. In your memo, you'll see that we have proposed changes that would prohibit tractor trailer and other large vehicles from producing excessive noise by using Jake brakes or failing to use a proper muffler. And you have a copy of the recommended changes. It's really the two changes. One, striking County Sheriff's Department and providing Sheriff's Office in that space, and then adding Section C, which reads motor vehicles. And no person shall slow a road tractor, dump truck, or other truck over 10,000 pounds gross vehicle weight rating by downshifting or Jake brakes. And the brakes shall be used. The brake shall be used. It shall be unlawful for any person to operate a motor vehicle without a proper muffler in good working order and in constant operation to prevent excessive noise. No person shall use a muffler, cutout, bypass, or similar device for noise making.
Any questions from commissioners on that? Good. Do we have any public comment on this item? Anyone virtually? Okay. Thank you. Next, we'll move into the discussion on the 2022 millage rate. We have run the advertisement with a 5-year notice, 5-year tax levy in the paper, and then we're scheduled at our next meeting to adopt the millage rate. As you know, we did complete Department of Revenue Form PT 32, which calculates real growth versus inflationary growth of existing properties. And we do, there are calculations done by the tax commissioner, and it shows us what rate we have to drop our millage rate to keep from taxing on that inflationary part of the increase. And so we will be presenting and adopting the rate that shows no tax increase for existing property values. So for the unincorporated areas, that rate would go from, I believe we're at 6.65 down to 5.965. Going from 6.65 to 5.965. Excuse me, it'll be 5.954 will be actual number we're going to. So we're going down a little bit more than that. And then in the incorporated areas, we're going from 759 to 6.084.
What was that?
6.804. Yep. So it's 5.954 for unincorporated, and then 6.804 for incorporated areas. If you notice on the 5-year digest and history of levy, it is showing a 3.4% increase in taxes collected. I've gotten several questions on that. So that increase in the dollar amount is our real growth in the digest, less any new exemptions that were filed in the previous calendar year. So basically, the growth in our digest created another $560,000 that are going into the budget for this year. Any questions on that one?
I heard somebody make a comment about the, I guess the word was used, significant increase in exemption. Was that the case? as far
Yes.
as total?
Yes. So we're not, tax commissioner did mention they had a lot more activity on that. So I think the word's getting out for some of our 65-year-olds. They can freeze their assessments. So that word is getting out now about those items.
So the majority of that increase was homestead exemptions. Or
I don't know that I can say that with confidence, but there was a lot more activity according to the tax commissioner on that. So I think, let's see, our total.
yeah, I mean, it went from like 371 million to 430.
Yes. So a big increase in that.
Okay.
Any other questions on that? All right, we'll tackle this next week then. So our next item will be discussion of TSPLOS. So I did attend the city council meetings for all the cities over the last, during the last month. And all cities have voted to participate in TSPLOS should we move forward with it next week. Just kind of summarizing again, we're doing $71 million ask. That's on the top end if everything works perfectly. Our actual receipts would be closer to 60 million based on our budget number. So that's kind of what we're planning for total countywide. Of that, Bishop would receive $477,000. Bogart would receive just over 1.9 million. North High Shoals would receive 797,000. In Watkinsville, almost 4.7 million. That will leave a net of 52,523,771 for Oconee County on the transportation. We broke that down into basically 4 categories that we'll move forward with. One is related services, and this is for our millage rate reduction. So what we're doing is we're taking expenses that are currently being paid for by property taxes that the law allows us to pay for with TSPLOS. And we're moving that over, and that will allow for a 1 mil reduction in the millage rate to be picked up by the sales tax. We also have paths, and we got one under design now, which is Hog Mountain Road. Others we've talked about over the years is Daniels Bridge Road, having that connected from back around to Mars Hill Road. Having a connection between OVP, Hermancy, and the new LAS park from the high school, so we'd have pathway there. And then we're going to be working with the regional commission to come up with a master pass plan for Oconee County. And that'll involve some community input. So there may be some that pop up that we haven't talked about in the past. And we'll try to get hopefully some kind of idea of which ones people may think are more important. Safety and intersection improvements is another area. And just like the 5 intersections we approved last week to have design done on them, there may be available to move toward that. And then the largest amount of money, which would be about $30 million, would go to paving. As you know, from our pavement index presentation that we had, we scored at 78 on condition of our roads. And that $30 million would be a significant step to get us to a strong B on our road rating in the future. So the related services millage rate reduction would be 15 million of the budget. A multi-use pass would be 3 million. Safety intersection improvements is 4.5, and the remaining 30 million would be paid. So, any questions on?
I just got a comment. Cause we lost the first time out, I'm gonna lose second time. And I know we're limited as to what we can do, you know, but is there a way with what you just said, for instance, the roads, if we can post, if we had the $30 million today, these would be the roads under, unless something changed, an emergency or something, but these roads are our number one down, so people know exactly what that 30 million would go to. Or any other thing that we know that we want to do, if we have the money in hand, these are the projects that we will be targeting. So as they vote, they look and they say, well, you know, these are the roads based on how they judge them. If it's other kind of paths, these are the same. These are the things that we would be doing. This is where that money would go.
Yes, I believe we can do that. If this passes next week, we'll be convening a group internally to come up with some educational materials that we can help, and that'll be one of the items we can look at putting out. We also have the ability to send stuff out on our, it's a fairly new thing we learned about, but on our water bills, we can put stuff on the back of that kind of educate, you know, here's the TSPLOS is coming up and here's what this money is going to be used for coming out. And then we're going to try to do some, have some community members that have a little more freedom in what they can do to help us get the word out as well. Any other questions? Next item is discuss the alcohol license request for Costco Wholesale Corporation. This will be at 5550 Parkway Boulevard.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners. Costco Wholesale Corporation has made their application for a new alcohol license for retail package sales of beer and wine. The registered agent, Mr. Justin Spira, has completed the RAS training. Costco will be located at 5550 Parkway Boulevard in Athens, Georgia. Their application is complete and the request is for approval of this alcohol license.
Any questions? Be all right for consent agenda? Yes. Do we have any public comment? Anyone virtually? Thank you. So our next item is discussion of the wireless emergency alert testing MOU. CJ.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Before you, there's a memorandum of understanding that will permit us to potentially perform a real test of wireless emergency alerts. Think about the Amber Alerts you get at times. We test those monthly in a sandbox environment, but this will allow us to actually assemble a group of folks together to measure the effectiveness of those alerts within our community. So via the execution of this MOU, we can participate in that process. Be happy to entertain questions.
So this is like the emergency broadcast system test.
Yes, sir. So it's a text-like message that pops up and usually wakes you up in the middle of the night. And it will, instead of being that live alert, it will pop up with a link to acknowledge receipt of it.
So you're saying you're gonna do it at 3 AM on
No.
Sunday?
No, that would involve me being awake at 3 AM. There's prescribed times. If you read within the memorandum, it's either at 9 or at 3, whenever they designate we can do that.
Very good. Thank
Probably have a lot of comments. 3 o'clock.
We want positive feedback if at all possible.
you. Any questions for CJ on this? Be all right for consent agenda? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any public comment? Anyone virtually? Very good. With that, we do not have need of an executive session, so Commissioner Saxon.
Motion adjourned.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.